Soundbite session 6, and tonight I've got two people with me and who happen to be sitting in the same room. So good evening, guys.
Good evening, Chris. Hello.
Good evening. We're really privileged to have you two guys along, because you're actually working on something which I'm quite passionate about myself. I probably say that every week, actually, but but you two guys are working on something which is pretty important, and probably not enough people consider the kind of age group that you're kind of aiming at, and the implications of some of the things we're doing to them. So I'm really quite pleased to have you on, because it gives me a chance to kind of find out a little bit more about what you have in mind. So in terms of this as a soundbite, just so that people understand what the purpose of this is, within Link for Growth we have people who are kind of members of that, and every week I have a number of sessions like this where it gives people like Jat and Harbinder a chance to basically explain to a wider audience than they perhaps would meet what they're doing. So that's what these sound bites are. Before we get into the meat of it, though, could you just introduce yourselves and just tell us a little bit about sort of how you've got to where you are right now?
Okay, I'll go first then. My name is Bhogal. I'm part of Link for Growth. I run Link for Drinks in Piccadilly, and I enjoy coaching. I've got an organisation called Positive New Directions, and I'm just working on life skills for kids now with my brother-in-law Harbinder. It's just been it's the result of a lot of brainstorming and a lot of passion hunting that we've done to find out where our time here on this earth is best spent and who we can serve most out of it. So that's my introduction there.
Yeah, hi, my name is Harbinder Mathadu, and I'm working with Jack here on a project called Life Skills for Kids. This all arose for me because I've got young children myself, 2 young children, and so this gives me an opportunity to learn more about the kind of skills I would like to offer them and how I can secure a better future for them as well.
Okay. What happens is nicely straight.
Chris, it's cracking up a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Can you hear me all right?
It's very, you're breaking up.
Okay. It's
gone. It's gone. You're coming back in little bursts,
Yeah,
but it's gone.
it's gone.
It's gone.
I've lost you.
You've lost me, have you?
Ah, you're back.
You're back.
Okay, all right. Well, I can see you okay, so hopefully if I'm broadcasting, it's all right. But anyway, let me get into the meat of the question here. Life skills for kids. What's it all about, and what is the problem? What is life skills trying to solve? What problem?
Okay, well, I'll answer this one. Life skills for kids is essentially what the children don't learn at school, and what we feel that the schools aren't placing enough emphasis on. When I explain it at Link for Drinks or to anyone I speak to, I explain it as politeness, manners, respect, even etiquette, and possibly even deportment. You know, learning how to hold yourself in a face-to-face conversation, what kind of language to use, how to use your language accurately, and how to read the other person as well. When we talk about like politeness and manners and things like that, we look at that from a family angle. Like the young children of today, especially we think the kids that are going from primary school to high school, so from the age 10, 11, going on to high school and beyond into like A levels. Those are the key stages that we see where the kids are going to be experiencing possible rejection. They might experience some bullying. They might have to try and make friends with other people. They might have to show that they're part of a group and be part of a conversation. So rather than saying, yeah, you should be confident or you should be you should be, outgoing and, sort yourselves out. Don't worry about the bullies, fight back. We're saying, well, let's learn about that. What is it like to be confident? What's it like to be polite? What's it like to be a good conversationalist and to be a person that other people want to be friends with? So we want to take those subjects, expand them a little bit, and respond to them individually. So the children that are coming to the workshops that we're planning get a chance to explore them a little bit. They get a chance to explore them in a safe environment where they can make a few mistakes and learn from them, by the way.
We've lost him again.
My mind back to when I was at
we're losing you again, Chris, a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on there. It's keeps going in and out. Okay, so something's going on.
I think we've got two connected.
No, just unplug your cable. Okay. You're back again.
I've never gone.
Keep breaking up.
It's breaking up again, Chris. I'm not sure.
Communication skills and be able to make friends easier, and some did struggle. So is the idea behind this that those things can be taught to perhaps those that don't get it naturally by themselves?
Yeah, that's a really good point, because you get the children that are not the naturally confident children, and they don't get that support. They have to kind of find their own way themselves, and they become possibly quieter adults when they grow up and they go into their working lives, and they take that experience with them. So it's a chance especially for a chance to work with the children that will need that support system more. The ones who maybe are a little bit shy, the ones that will benefit from understanding what's going on when they're in a like a playground environment and they're not part of the in crowd, reinforcing the fact that they are still important even though they're not part of a particular crowd.
I suppose, though, if I'm thinking about this from my own perspective, it's probably just as much as an education for the people that are confident and get it naturally to be, I don't know, is the word tolerant, or to understand that those other ones that perhaps don't get it, there's not anything wrong with them. They're just perhaps, I mean, if you are naturally gifted in those areas, I suppose you need some education as well to sort of get the fact that others don't get it naturally.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. So it's for all types of children with different levels of skills, and to teach them how other kids feel as well, and to appreciate other children's feelings, and to accept them as they are as well, and maybe to help them along as well, to help them to improve their own confidence and communication skills. So that's a very important part of it as well.
Do you think that, with Facebook and with all these, I mean, some of these kids are a bit too young for that, but with a lot of capability to share information and collaborate in a much more effective way that we didn't have when we were at school, that a lot more of this is possible than perhaps it might not have been before, because you've got more tools at your disposal to be able to, if you like, get to know people or chat with them without necessarily being face to face to start with.
It's, I suppose, how we see that is that it gives us the opportunity to probably get a message out in front of an audience that usually you wouldn't wouldn't even speak to because you're not connected. And with social media, Facebook, Google Plus, more Facebook, I suppose. That's where we hang around more, I suppose. It gives us the chance to possibly not have to have a full-blown conversation with someone, but to put an extract of maybe a thought process that we're going through that links to something like Life Skills for Kids, and so they kind of get an idea where we're coming from, and they get an idea that we're serious about this in a fun sort of way, but we root around in the subject enough to find the things that need addressing, like you mentioned before. What kind of problem are we solving? It's more of rather than a problem, I suppose it's more we're trying to change views on and get people to place more emphasis on the things we're talking about.
With social media, I think, it's a question for you two. I don't know if social media is actually hindering children from actually improving things like communication skills, because it's much easier to sit in your bedroom and type a question on Facebook or put comment upwards than to actually to talk to people face to face. And so that's one of the things that I as a parent would be worried about, is social media making children a little bit more less connected with people in real life.
With the human side.
With the human side, important things with communication is body language, is a big part of it. Now with social media, you don't get that across. The tone of your voice doesn't come across. Whether you're angry, whether you're upset, whether you're sad, that doesn't come across.
And it's got exclamation marks. Make the text
exactly, or a smiley face. But that's the only way you can communicate your actual feelings through social media. So one of the things that we're trying to do is to bring the human factor with kids, so that when they do talk to adults, talk to teachers, talk to friends, that they've got that communication skill and that confidence to put across a point.
It is interesting because I asked my son about what he does with Otis, don't you?
Yeah.
And he said that a lot of the time they used social media to arrange offline meetings, i.e. arrange going to parties or events or going to the cinema or doing something. So they were using the platform to drive offline stuff, but that might be just a group that were already formed in reality, and it excluded the people that weren't in the club anyway.
Exactly. I suppose one way around this as well. It might be an outlet for someone that doesn't communicate well. But like a couple of weeks back, I put up a post about sitting around the dinner table with the TV off and actually unpacking the day and kind of chewing over it with your family. And that takes you away from the hiding away in your room somewhere, and everyone, even the adults in the family, I come home sometimes and I don't want to talk to anyone, but I make that effort to sit around the dinner table and have that chat, and then think, actually my day's got a little bit lighter because I've been able to get someone else's view on it, and now I know how my kids think about what I've just done all day long, and it just connects everyone like a bit of a mesh that connects everyone together, and then you get up in the morning and you go about your day again. So it does, and then I think there's times when social media, like my daughter's 13 now, and she's just got a Facebook account, and we noticed her homework was starting to slide a little bit the week that she got it. So we've had to put a little bit of a ban on it, but it was used as a bit of a reward for understanding that she had to organise herself a little bit better, and then she could go on and talk to, converse with people, engage with people online.
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, what would you say to parents then who might turn around and say, well, I don't really get what you're doing, because we turned out all right, didn't we?
Yeah, the university.
Yeah, I think one of the things we've looked at is opportunity for kids nowadays, I think there's a lot more competition out there. There's a lot more children graduating from university. There's
young adults, I suppose, rather.
Young adults. So there's less jobs out there. There's a lot of people out there looking for the same job. I mean, there's some statistics out there that say there's about 10,000 graduates that are working in bars and as cleaners, and there's about 20,000 graduates still looking for a job. So what's going to give our kids the difference in getting a job? What's going to give them that little bit extra? So when they turn up for an interview with 20 other candidates, all with the same degree or with the same qualification, what's going to give them that little bit extra? So what I'm saying is that good communication skills, that first impression for an interview, will be very important. So that's the kind of direction we're looking at for parents, and to give them an idea of what we're trying to achieve for the children. Try to give them that little bit extra skill to succeed later on in life.
So is what you're putting together really being discussed with the parents and getting the parents interested in the difference this can make, or are you engaging with the if you like the target age group, which is what, 13 to 16?
Yeah, it's kind of like 11 to 13 to start with, the transition period from primary to high school.
I mean, that's our target audience is 11 to 13-year-olds, but the people that we want to engage and get on board is the parents. So we need to convince the parents that this is what is beneficial for their children.
Like a very useful use of their time. Like, parents, we put our children through tuition on Saturday mornings and send them through to like after school clubs, and this being something that's aside from the academic education that a child will receive, it's more the foundational stuff that really, it's like building up your core when you're working, when you're exercising. If you don't build up your core, you won't be able to lift too many weights on top, depending on what kind of thing you're doing. Yeah. This is like foundational skills that, we've always relay it back to families, that when your family structure or your environment where you go home to is strong, and we understand that some kids might not have a complete family structure, but wherever they go to and where they get trust and comfort at home, once that's strong and you can converse and you've got people you can trust there, then growing from that is a lot easier. We find in our experience, and we've seen family members who've got a really solid foundational structure, and their confidence levels are a lot higher. They find it easier mixing with people in a social environment and just talking and being themselves and liking themselves as well. As in, that's one of the things we spoke about. We've brainstormed on it as in how much easier it would be for an individual to make friends once they understand themselves and how they work, and then going forward and making friends with all that knowledge.
It comes from self-esteem. If a child has high self-esteem, it'll be easy for them to make friends, to form relationships, and that will improve their confidence. And once you improve your confidence, then things like your education, so the technical side of education, maths, English, that will naturally improve as well because you've got that confidence. So
you can go the other way, though. I mean, I don't watch it, but you get some idiots who've got huge self-esteem, but there's no reason for them to have self-esteem because they can't do anything. They've kind of got so much confidence, but it's like, I have no idea why they're that confident.
Well, we discussed that, didn't we? We actually discussed that about being quietly confident. There's kids out there that do a lot of shouting, a lot of talking over people, loud people that seem to be confident, but they may be hiding some insecurities in that loudness. Whereas there's a kid who could be quiet, but they could be quietly confident because they know their strengths a lot better than the other kid who's going around shouting a lot more.
Yeah. Right. I mean, apart from probably your own kids, which I'm sure are being if you like, subjected to a lot of what you're doing here.
Is it like it or not?
Is there any other examples that you've actually worked with where you've had really good feedback from the kids themselves and maybe even the parents?
I'll be completely honest. At the moment, it's more based around the children we have most contact with. So it's our kids, our nieces and nephews, and how we see them grow, develop, and take on behaviours. And we think, well, hang on, how do they learn that? How do they pick that little bit of behaviour up? And so, yeah, that's been that experience so far. With myself, I've done a few workshops. One was with a group of scouts. I think I mentioned it to you at one point. A-level students, just talking about life choices and how me at the time when I gave the workshop, I was I'm 18, 19 years their senior, and I was given a perspective of what it's like working, employed, working, the kind of challenges we face, and then giving them a bunch of life choices on a flip chart pad and saying, out of all of these ones, I think I covered all of them. And I had like armed forces, professional sports, loads of things. You could travel the world, and just pose the question: how would you choose? What would you choose out of these choices here that would give you something that I know I crave now is freedom and time to myself, and to be able to just grow and develop and get involved in fun stuff. What would you choose out of that flip chart, which you think will give you all of that freedom and time? And a lot of them were from there was a majority Asian group, and a lot of them did come out with we can't choose those things because we're not supposed to. We're supposed to go down the whole, go to university, get a degree, learn about, get married, have kids, and then go to work. So it was an interesting, not trying to change anyone's mindset or brainwash anyone, but it was just an interesting question to pose to see what results came back. And a lot of kids said, well, we didn't realize that we had that many choices. And now, when they go ahead and they're making choices, it'll be interesting to see what they remember of that.
Well, it's conditioning, isn't it? And I mean, I think one of the things that that I think is going to be an interesting to watch how it goes is because the curriculum doesn't have a space for creating, allowing. If you put stuff into kids' brains and fill it up, there's no space for creativity. And kind of what you're doing is, although some of it will be behavioural and about some of the building blocks of what they will need when it comes to being an adult, you're also kind of challenging, if you like, what we do to kids at that age. And I personally think what we do may have been fine when people couldn't even read and write. But actually what we're looking to do now is we've got a different world, haven't we? It's a different world and it's changing quickly at the moment. And actually you've got to collaborate and socialise. So the types of things that you're talking about, which is how to be a human being that's in harmony with everything else around them. If you don't have conversational skills, you're going to end up, I don't know, locked in a room or something. I don't know. But it's going to be challenging because what you've got to do is you've got to fight the existing system and try and present an opportunity to implement something which is a bit fluffy for them.
It can be seen as a bit fluffy, but the point we want to get across is that we think we'll be changing a generation. If you like, if we'll be affecting the younger generation to us, as well as getting them to see and benefits because their lives improve as they get older, when they have to converse with other people, when they have to go out looking for work, and especially with the Link for Growth ethos, where you're finding where you fit and you're finding where you fit in with the rest of the world, so you're useful and you become like a service to others.
Yeah, you have a purpose. You've got
a purpose, and you find that purpose. I mean,
one of the things that we looked at early on when we were doing a lot of brainstorming with this life Life Skills for Kids is we were thinking about working with the midlife group, the 40-year-olds who get to that point in their life where they hit the midlife crisis.
Right.
And we're thinking, right, so how can we help them get over their midlife crisis and take on a new direction or look for new skills? But then we started thinking, well, the best way they could have avoided a midlife crisis is if they had that firm grounding when they were younger. So what we can do for our own generation of kids coming up is give them the opportunity now to learn all these skills. So when they do approach that midlife, they're not in that same boat of thinking, right, what have I kind of achieved, or where am I? I'm in a dead end job. I'm not really enjoying what I'm doing, and it's too late to change almost. So it's stepping back and starting from scratch right at the beginning of a kid's career and life to give them those opportunities.
Yeah, it's a very different world to the one that I was. Basically you go to school, you get an exam, you get your exams, you go to university if that's what you choose to do, you go and get a job, you buy a house, you have kids, blah blah blah, and then I'm sure you're in the same boat. And it's like you think, well, hang on a minute, I'm spending all my time doing this. Actually, this isn't what I want to do. Exactly, but you're stuck because you've got an income. It pays for what you've got, and you can't just say, well, I'm going to stop doing that, because the money goes, the house goes, the wife goes, the kids go, and that's not really acceptable. Right. And that's kind of not what you want. So if you can get kids to follow their passion and actually end up doing something they love doing, and they're making those choices before they get all the baggage.
Yeah, exactly that. That's where we chose to put our emphasis on and put our efforts, essentially.
Brilliant. Well, I mean, it's I think that we've got to end this clone education system that we've got. We're creating clones to go out to a marketplace which is no longer there. And I think this kind of work that you're doing, which is getting the kids at an early age to start thinking about the possibilities, which are not the possibilities that they think they've got. And what you talked about, Jack, was that thing you did with the Scouts. It's like suddenly opening up people's eyes to say they have got choices.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
And we need much more of this, much more of this. So, I mean, I think it's excellent stuff that you're doing, and I really do. I am looking forward to seeing some of the stuff that comes out, because you're going in exactly the direction I think we should be going in, and as a nation, really, and in the world. So, I'll be looking with interest and seeing how you're getting on, and you've got my support anyway.
No, thanks for that. I mean, the kind of thing we're thinking of, I mean, this is all going to be, we don't want to kind of create a classroom environment for kids when they're going to be coming possibly to our workshops on a weekend, maybe. When the parents are out shopping, there's a 2-hour slot where 10 kids can get together. So what we're trying to do is create a fun environment where they actually look forward to being able to play around a bit, as well as and then experiment with things. And not turn into, well, I suppose not be the adults that do that at a later age, like learning about personal development, like we all did, but getting that fun environment of learning at an earlier age. And so we're thinking about how can we create a role play environment where kids can learn about how to deal with confrontation. They can learn about how to negotiate with someone. They can learn about how to pitch to someone, and just get an idea and see where they stop, see where they need a bit more. They need to adjust a little bit, so they can get to the ages of when they're older and they're actually doing this in maybe networking environments where they think, oh man, I really wish I had those skills, and they see someone doing it absolutely perfectly. And I've had this experience myself. Think, how did that person do such a perfect pitch? And it's just you know, how that person is, the experiences that person has had as they've got to that point. And the things that
it's definitely something that's needed. I mean, just sort of close out on what you've just said there. I know that when I took on Otis, my son, at 18, and he started networking straight away, and because he didn't have any clue about what a business world was, people would, after a year, people would say, how the hell did you learn how to network so really, really well? And it was like, well, he didn't have any preconceived ideas, he just went out and did it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I mean, I know Otis as well, so I know exactly how he was when I first met him at a full networking event. And yeah, he's a very confident guy. Well,
he didn't have, the thing was, he didn't have any knowledge. So he didn't feel he could talk to people about business, so he talked about other stuff. When you think about what we do in Link for Growth and in terms of those events, we never talk about business really, we get to know people.
Yeah.
So he was doing that because he didn't have any other knowledge, because he didn't know anything about business. He couldn't talk about business.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it was accidental.
You should write a book about that.
Look, guys, it's been really nice talking to you, and you know, I know we're going to hear a lot more about what you're doing, and thanks for sparing the time. And I know we've had a few technical issues, but I'll do my best to hack it about so that we get something that's a bit coherent.
No worries, Chris. Thanks for your time. Thanks for spending the time with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for that.
All right, guys. So all the best, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Okay. See you next week.
All right, take care now. Cheers. Bye now.
All right. Bye.